Okay, removing the jets. I can't even begin to see what size that is, but need a magnifying glass. But I'm sure you can't see. See if you can't see any light through the. It's not clogged, it's not closed, but I would say the word is restricted. But not a lot. Alrighty. Remove the fuel inlet fitting from the main body. Remove the inlet gasket, fuel filter, gasket, and spring. Discard the gaskets and that would be you right there. Okay, let's remove the old fuel inlet. Trying to do this without putting too much force. There she goes. Okay. Remove the fuel inlet fitting, the screw, the filter, and the washer. And I believe it said to discard all three. Remove fuel inlet fitting from the main. Remove the gasket, fuel filter, gasket, and spring. Discard the gaskets and the filter. So we keep the spring, discard the gasket and the filter. Obviously we keep the fitting. Oh, there's a gasket on the inside too. Okay, you get discarded. Alright. Invert the main body and remove the throttle body attaching screws. Leave throttle body shaft linkage attached. Separate throttle body from main body and discard the gasket. So we turn you upside down. We'll see how much of this nasty fluid comes out again. Get my container. I think almost all of it is out, but oh, this stuff is thick. Okay. Okay. So I guess that means remove these two screws. Alright, so let's take my standoffs out and put you to the side right there. Phillips. Whoa, that was loose. I didn't have to put any pressure on that one. And look at all this gunk coming out of there too. I don't know if you can see that or not. I mean, she was loose as a goose. Threads are clean, but there's all kind of gunk or junk inside of it. The head. Let's spin you around. try the other side. How loose for you? That one before took hardly any pressure in it. Alright, that was a little bit more snug. That was better, but not a lot. Cleaner, no washer behind these. Alright, let's zoom back out. Alright. Get to separate you two. Can't believe those are the only two screws holding it in. That's it. I don't see any more screws. And let's see if you come apart. Okay. No. No movement. Don't have any screws left in there, right? Okay. Let's give it a wrap at this here. That didn't work. That sounded like it knocked something loose. That sounds loose. That sounds loose. That sounds loose. Okay, so maybe I can encourage you a little bit more. I don't want to put pressure. No. No. She's still not loose. Here we go. Trying to find a good lever point. Breaking the seal on the gasket. Again, I'm trying not to put a lot of pressure. I don't want to damage anything. Okay. This guy was pretty thick. This gasket was stuck pretty good. Pretty good. Get the gasket scraper and scrape her off. Get her cleaned up. Okay. So I've still got a good amount of gasket material on both sides here. have to see what I can do to get this off. Alright. Again, my goal is to lift as much of this gasket as possible and not gouge the surface with my hobby knife here. Okay. Relatively thick. What can I compare it to? The blade, the thickness of a screwdriver? Okay. I'm not going to try to scrape all of this off, all this gasket material off at this point. There's a bunch of gunk up in there. I'll let it, while it's soaking, let that do its job. Alright, next step, it says, is to screw in whether I'm going to read it exactly. Turn the mixture screws clockwise until they lightly seat, counting the number of turns required. Write this information down for reference during reassembly. Back out and remove the screw and spring assemblies. Clean and inspect carburetor as described. Okay, so here they are. So it says to, can I turn them with my fingers? No, I can't turn them. Clockwise. Half a turn. Half a turn. Half a turn. 4 halves. 5, 6, 'That's it. So let's see. Okay. So I would call that 6½ halves. So that's 3 1/4. That means, yeah. Let's try it with this one. Let me zoom in a little bit. Maybe you can see it better. Alright. One full turn. Two full turns. 3 full turns. 3 1/2. Okay. 3 1/2. With the pins facing out, bottom down, 1 to the left. 3 1/2, 3 1/4. I shall go write that down. Now to remove them. Now, I've been warned, be very careful with the tips. Be very careful. Chief Allen has told me, warned me, be very careful. Be very, very careful with the tip of these. Alright. There she is. I don't know how I can focus on that. I assume we want to keep them in the correct. We want to keep them and put them back in their original holes, original locations. They're just strong enough with this spring that I can't turn it with my fingers. I have to use the pliers. There we go, now I can turn it with my fingers. The spring has been relaxed enough. Okay, now that one looks a lot more dirty. I don't know if you can tell. Dirty. Okay. Alright, that's it. According to the book, because the next step says, clean and inspect carburetor as described in this chapter. Then the next step is assembly. So, I assume that it is at this point that I dip her in the Berryman and let her sit. I don't see anything else that can come off. And what I will also do is I'm going to submerge this float. I don't know if you guys saw me take the float off. But I'm going to submerge the float and make sure no bubbles come. Alright, so that's basically it for the time being. I'm going to pop open this can of Berryman and dip this puppy in there. I don't know if I can put the whole thing in. Actually, I don't know if it'll fit in at all. It's almost as big as the can itself. Actually, I got the air horn sitting on top of the can, and yeah, I can see it won't fit in the can. So I'm going to just have to use another container and maybe pour the Berryman in there. I might have to go get another can of Berryman because it may not be enough. But in any case, that stuff was relatively expensive. I say expensive. It was $27 for the gallon. $27. I don't see any other non-metallic parts. I was warned to make sure that none of the rubber parts make their way inside the Berryman. And the only rubber parts that I could see are on the pump. And although this float does not appear to be rubber, The diaphragm, I'm sure inside this vacuum pump is rubber. And of course the piece of hose on there. So alrighty, well, I'm gonna try to get this stuff dipped in the barium, let it set overnight, or longer if I need to get a second can. So alright, well, that's it. Ta-ta for now.